Okay, so YouTube is on. I don't have any of my cameras on, I mean, my lights on yet, so bear with me here. Facebook is up. All right, how we doing? Cameras look good. I think. I always think it looks light enough, and then I get going. I'm like, I can hardly see anything. All right. Ooh, that was weird. All right, so what time is it? Oh, I guess that's right. All right. What is this telling me now? Oh, okay. Something about stars. I don't know anything about that kind of stuff. If you guys have tips for me, holler. I don't know how any of this works. So it is almost time. I think if you saw the email or you got the message earlier, this is going to be a restorative class. So you're going to want tools, right? So if you have all the fancy yoga stuff like yoga straps and yoga blocks and bolsters and all of this, lovely. But you're at home, so even if you don't own these things, you can improvise, right? Pillows, love pillows. Folded blankets. Everybody has a throw blanket or something that you can use, even if it's towels, right? Get a couple of nice fat stacked towels. Blocks, we're not going to do a whole lot with blocks today. So you don't have to worry too much. You could stack books, right? Sometimes books will slide off of each other depending on how you're using them. So that may or may not be a good fit. But today we'll use a block or a stack of books at the wall or legs up the wall. So they don't go so much anywhere, right? You don't have to worry about them sliding off of each other as much in that situation. So if that's what you have to use, that's what you have to use, right? And I don't know where you are, but it's cold here. I had my little Dyson on warming the room a little bit for me. But if you have a blanket and you want to use that during Shavasana as well to just sort of cover up and keep yourself warm, one last thing to distract your mind. I'm cold, my feet are cold, my blah, 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 right? So definitely grab up some props. I'm going to grab mine over here. Everything is just sort of helter-skelter over there, but and we will go ahead and get ready. So as you're gathering your things, we are going to start laying down. And you can prop up, right? So again, fancy yoga bolsters or roll, people use them for the rolling fascia. But a rolled mat, same kind of shape, right? So you can use those things. I got this crazy little like bed of nails things. I haven't tried that yet, but at some point. And then you can hear my bells and all kinds of crap in there. Pillows, right? Handy blocks. Blankets are my favorite thing, but again, you can use a pillow or whatever in place of this. Did you guys see my pillow? Combining my two favorite things, Halloween and yoga. So yeah, anything you want, straps, your stack of books, pillows, whatever you want to gather. And then we are going to go ahead and lay back. So if you want to prop yourself, even as you lay down, that's totally fine, right? So a lot of times the bolster behind the knees is just enough, right? You can also have maybe the soles of your feet together and support the outsides of your knees. We'll do that a little bit later. But if that feels good for right now, go ahead and do it. So laying back and making yourself comfortable as if this were Shavasana. We're not going to start with Shavasana, of course, but that's the idea, right? So if you want your feet flat to the floor, the legs extended, bolstered, soles of the feet together, whatever makes you happy. Focus on your backside. Check in that the alignment of your spine is exactly as you want it. Even, neutral, and relax. So as if you could melt into the floor. Closing your eyes. And just allowing yourself to be in this space for a moment. And as the body starts to cooperate and relax a little bit here, bring your focus to your breath. And maybe with every exhalation, see if you can feel this sinking and relaxing, slowing idea. Every exhalation brings it down just a little notch deeper. And we're going to take our hands here to the upper belly or just below the rib cage here. Let the fingertips just touch. So rest your elbows, let your shoulders release. And then start to direct your breath into your hands. So inhale, let your hands lift and maybe the fingers come apart a little bit there. And then exhale, watch them fall and the fingers touch again. Okay? So just focusing on that inhalation and exhalation. And it doesn't have to be a contest. You don't have to expand your belly as big as it can get and then release it. Just a gentle little rise and fall. And then slide your hands up on the ribs themselves. And see if you can feel a little bit of that same sensation. The expanding of the rib cage and contracting again on the exhalation. And we tend to think of the rib cage as really this kind of steady place, right? But it moves quite a bit. Taking the hands to the upper chest. And you can let your elbows kind of just relax wherever you can, right? And see if you can feel that same sensation in the upper chest. It isn't going to be as marked, right? But there is a little rise and fall. Some people tend to be all chest breathers. See if you can be more belly breather. But even then, there's some movement, right? Notice the wave between the movement in the lower lungs and the upper lungs. Take the fingertips of one hand and just gently rest it on your throat. Rest them on your throat. And see if you can feel that breath pattern moving through the throat as well. Releasing the hands. And see if you can still be aware of those same sensations without actually using your hands. We're going to take our hands and bring them together and rub them together. So get some warmth there in your fingers, in your palms. And once you have some warmth in your hands here, go ahead and take your palms to your eyes so that maybe the heel of your hand rests on the eye itself. And you don't want to press, of course, right? Just a gentle little bringing the warmth from the hands to the eyes. Go ahead and release that, bringing the arms back down to your sides. Maybe wiggle your fingers and toes a little bit, especially your toes more than anything. The hands have been active. If they're not already, take the feet flat to the floor. You can absolutely keep your eyes closed through most of what we're going to do today, so certainly if you'd like to here, leave them closed. Gently roll yourself over to the side and just pause there for a moment. Take a second in the transitions today, especially. We're going to gently make our way up to a seated position. So again, just taking your time as you bring yourself up. And then keeping the eyes closed here if you'd like. And find a comfortable seat. So you have the prompts if you want to sit up on a block or sit up on the pillow or whatever you need here, feel free. Finding the pelvis in this upright position, relaxing your shoulders. Let's gently stretch the neck. So with an exhalation, we're going to drop the chin down to the chest. Inhale, lifting your face up toward the ceiling. Keep the back of the neck long. And then exhale, drop it back down again. Lifting back up. One more time, drop it down, exhale. And then inhale, bring your head back to a neutral position. Exhale, drop your right ear over toward your right shoulder. And just let the head fall to the side, keeping that shoulder relaxed. Sometimes we like to lift it for whatever weird reason. If you want a little extra here, go ahead and stretch that left hand away. You can even take the right hand up and over the top of the head, moving toward your left ear. Add a little bit of a pull if that feels good. We're going to release that, coming back to center. And then switch, dropping the left ear toward the left shoulder. Stretching the right arm away from the body a little bit, adding on more using that left hand. Again, kind of sit with what is and decide if you need or want more. And take another big breath. And then gently release that, coming back to center. Let's stretch both arms out here. With an inhale, we're going to reach them up. And exhale, bring them back down. Do that again. Stretching the fingertips as far away from your body as you can. Let's go one more. Come back to the top. And then exhale your right hand back to the mat. And give yourself a little tip over to that side. We're going to take a couple of big breaths here. So inhale, lengthen through your left fingertips. Exhale, sink into that stretch a little deeper. Do that again. Inhale, lengthen, drop that left shoulder away from the ear, sink in there a little deeper. Go one more breath like that. It doesn't have to be a big movement, just subtly working in. With the next exhale, go ahead or inhale, bring yourself back up to the middle. And we'll switch sides. So take it over to the left. Use the breath, lengthening and sinking. Again. One more. And then we'll go ahead and lift up on the inhale. And exhale, release. So let's take the right hand over to the left knee and the left hand behind the back. Give yourself the most gentle little twist ever in the world. Relaxing your shoulders, just finding a nice tall spine here. You can look to the left if you like. Adding in for your neck. And then we're going to come on back through the center. Same idea to the second side. It's nice and easy. Releasing that back to the middle. Let's take this one a little deeper, make it some work. A little bit of work anyway, right? Really press into the left arm. Pull with the right hand against the knee, rotating your belly. See if you can turn your left side ribs more toward the back. Open up that shoulder a little deeper, looking over the shoulder. And then thinking about what the right shoulder is doing. Did it come across the chest? Try to keep it down and back. We're going to release that, coming back through the middle. Feel like you're kind of untwisting, right? Untwisting. Take the left hand to the right knee, right hand behind the back, same idea. Press into those fingertips, pulling against the knee to draw around. Nice and even, up the spine. Big full breaths. And then we'll release it back to the middle again. So let's come around onto all fours. Cushion if you need to cushion your knees or your wrists. Keeping the belly in here. And then just moving in through some cat-cows. Those always feel good, right? Inhale the belly toward the floor. Exhaling to round the spine toward the ceiling. Gentle little in and out. Connect into your breath.
Let's take one more flow. And then find a middle here.
So we're going to use props for the first time, right? If you have a rolled mat, if you have a bolster, if you have a blanket or two, right? Whatever you want to use here, and you can prop up as high as you want. We're essentially going to be in child's pose, right? So maybe open up your knees. You can even slide the blankets back for a little bit more support, lower on your belly. And we're just gonna lay over. The arms can be more wherever is, more comfortable depending on your props, of course, right? Let your head just relax. So make sure it's supported a little bit. You don't want to necessarily hold it up, but you don't want it like not being able to breathe, hanging toward the floor either. So find that middle, turn your head if you have to, adjust your arms, and release. Let the weight of the body just sink into your prop here. If you find you have too many props, take one out. If you need a little extra, maybe just puff it up a little bit. I'm going to take just a few more breaths here. So if you want to get a little bit deeper into the stretch, of course, take one of your props away. From here, you're going to gently make your way up back to your all fours position. And we're actually going to use the blankets or the pillows or whatever you're using here. Right? So we're going to sit with the right hip at the end of the stack, so to speak, right? And you can get all fancy folding your blankets and all kinds of stuff like this if that's you, right? Sometimes a restorative class can be more getting into poses than actually being in the poses. So take that with a grain of salt. We're going to think turning the belly button toward the stack and then laying on the stack as much as you can. Remember, you can lift it higher or make it lower. You can keep your face toward the floor if it feels better to the left. Maybe turn it to the right, adding in with a twist. And then the arms either kind of supporting a little bit or extending away from the body or forward, whatever. Same idea, relax into it. Find where your body is helping and see if you can release that spot. For me, it's my lower left back, right? But find where it is for you and see if you can consciously release it into your prop. We'll take a few more breaths here. So if you want to move deeper into it, change up your arms. Take your time getting there. And then very gently bring yourself back up onto your hands. Keeping your eyes closed if you want, moving nice and slow here. We're gonna take the same thing to the second side. So you can either move your bolster or you can move your butt. You decide. So again, the left hip is right at the end of your stack of pillows or blankets or bolster or whatever you got here. The legs are where is most comfortable, of course, right? Rotate the belly to the left and then fold over the roll or the stack. Find where your head can be supported, turning it in a direction that feels better, extending the arms wherever they need to go. And you can always adjust, right? Maybe you lay down and ooh, that feels good, and then you can release and go deeper, right? Play with it and find where it is. Release into your supports. You've got just a few more breaths here, so make any modifications that you'd like. And we're gently going to make our way back up again. So go ahead and set your props aside. And we're going to make our way back around onto our all fours. From here, give yourself a down dog. So however you feel like getting there today, let yourself move and stretch. Letting yourself settle in, press the chest back, get that great big stretch back down the backs of the legs. Let your head hang. See if you can feel the weight act on your neck, just like gravity work. And then we'll step the right foot forward. Take the left knee to the floor. Maybe just kind of wiggle around into your hips a little bit. And then let's take the right leg straight, right? Or straight-ish. So this is another really great place for props every day, right? You can absolutely put your stack behind your knee, right? Supporting the leg. You can prop up with the block here, keeping the chest open, sinking a little deeper into the fold. Any little assist that you need, take it. See if you can keep that idea from earlier, the exhalation sort of allowing you to sink and move deeper, even here, even in this not necessarily so restorative supported pose. Let's gently bend back into the knee, sink into the hips, open your chest. And then we'll go ahead and step back to our down dog. Give it a little wiggle and a stretch. And switch to the second side, bringing the left foot forward. Drop your back knee, wiggle around into your hips, adjust where this foot is. And we'll gently take the left leg straight. So prop up in any manner that assists you. Let's take one more nice big breath here. And then bend back into the knee. Lifting the chest. Sinking into the hips. And then making our way back to our down dog again. Let's go ahead and drop back down to the knees. And into our child's pose. And again, we'll be here for just a little bit if you want to grab your blankets and bolsters and sink into your bolsters. If you want to open your knees and sink a little bit deeper there if you're ready. Just kind of play with that and see where your body wants to be. Supported is really good. It can be just as deep. Just as deep. So we're going to gently make our way back up again and come back to our seat. So let's bring the soles of the feet together. Here, if you wanted to use your props, you can support the outsides of your knees with a couple of blankets, right? Or a couple of blocks or whatever it is. And the closer they are to your hips, the higher the knees are supported, right? If you needed to support your bottom so that your pelvis is upright, feel free. All the props. All the props. So let the heels come in. Hang on to your ankles, lift your chest here, using your elbows at your inner hips if that feels good. Maybe just a little hinge of the pelvis toward the heels. Feeling that subtle sinking in with your exhalations. Nice and easy here with an inhale, bring yourself back up. And let's go ahead and extend the legs out long. So a prop behind your knees, maybe. Right? If you're sitting up on a block here, just be very careful of your knees. Right? You don't want to hyperextend. We're going to sit nice and tall here. Reach the arms up. Give yourself a big stretch. And then exhale and fold over your legs. So for a moment, right, work with your breath here. On an inhale, lengthen up your spine. On the exhale, see if you can sink in a little bit. So it can be big, right, big movement, or it can be more subtle. But see if you can feel just a little bit of that release and then a deeper stretch. Let's take one more breath like that. Really kind of get in there as good as it's going to get. And then we want to release here, right? So maybe a blanket, maybe the bolster behind your knees, maybe that blanket is way up on your belly, kind of supporting. Maybe it's more towards your chest so you can release your arms, whatever. And normally in class, I talk about keeping that neutral spine, right? For now, we're not going to worry about that so much, right? So let yourself go. Droop over your legs. Let your arms rest, let your head rest. We're going to take just a couple more nice big breaths. Gentle little bend into the knees if they're not already. And roll up through your spine. So let's set those the props aside here. We're going to open the feet for a straddle. And find a challenge. It doesn't have to be ridiculous, right? Make sure your pelvis is upright. Let's reach the arms up. Give yourself a great big stretch here. We're going to rotate the belly around to the left and then fold over the left leg. Root your pelvis. Keep the shoulders down and back. And that same idea, right? That lifting and lengthening and then exhaling and sinking in. Take a few breaths like that. And then take a few breaths in that more of a restful place. So maybe you grab a prop, maybe you just kind of relax into it a little bit. You can let this right hip roll up. You can let your shoulders relax. Let your head hang. We hear again that little bend in the knees so we can roll up through the spine, come back up to center. And we'll do the second side. So reach up, take a big stretch. Rotate around to the right and let your body fall here. So find that space, right? Working in a little bit deeper, big or subtle movements. And then let yourself kind of relax into it, right? So relax your shoulders, relax your head, support if that feels right for you. And you can even use the arms to support, right? At certain points, maybe that's where it needs to be. Ensuring that little bend in the knees, rolling back up through the spine, back up to the middle. All right. So here, you'll definitely want your prop, right? Or props. High or low, we'll just have to see, right? So stretch up here. And we're going to come forward and do exactly what we've been doing. So think flat back down, thinking the pelvis is rooted, finding that little bit of length and a little bit of sink, right? Until you find where you think that's as good as it's going to get. And then when you kind of found that space, that's where you want to release into it. So prop it up and then let go, right? And if the prop's not right, fuss around until it is. And then allow the weight of your body to move into that prop. Feel completely supported and see what happens. Can you move deeper? Is it just that the muscles release a little bit and feel a little bit better, right? We'll take just a couple more breaths in this position. And that little bend in the knees, supporting with the arms, rolling back up through the spine. Let's set that practice on. Bring the feet back in. Wiggle around a little bit. And I'm going to move just a little bit. Let's come down to the back. And have your props available to you so you don't have to continuously get up and everything, right? And the same idea as when we first laid back, make sure that the spine feels neutral. Make your shoulders wide. Feel even across your hips and shoulders. The legs bent or straight, whatever makes you happy. Even here, feel that sinking sensation on your exhales. And if you haven't already, go ahead and take your feet flat to the floor. For right now, we'll bring the arms down by the sides. Make sure the back of your neck is not touching the floor, keeping the head neutral here. We're going to press down into the triceps, pull the heels toward the hips, and just gently lift the pelvis away from the floor. So here's where you're going to grab your block or your stack of books or a blanket even, totally fine. Whatever height feels right, you're going to slide the prop behind the pelvis, right? So the wide part before your butt. You don't want your bum hanging off of the edge, and you don't want the block so low that your lower back is sinking toward the floor. You can make it higher or lower. Just try to have it wide across your body rather than skinny up and down your spine. Kind of think that idea. A little bit better support. Your backside is a little bit happier about that. And adjust, right? If it's too high, bring it down. If it's too low, take it up. Release the weight of your pelvis into the prop. Relax your shoulders. Connecting to your breath here. We'll take one more nice big breath. And then gently press down into your feet to lift your hips up off that block, prop. And just move it aside, releasing your pelvis back into the floor. So here we can get a little fussier if you want to add a chest opener. So the idea, the main piece of the pose is to bring the soles of the feet together and just release the knees out to the sides, right? So most of us, the knees don't touch the floor, and that's what your blanket is for, right? Or your prop or your pillow or whatever it is that you're using. The closer to the hip, right, the more support that leg is going to get, or the higher it is, right? So the adding in piece, if you have a skinny prop, right, that can go underneath the bottom tips of your shoulder blades, not under your neck, not at the tops of your shoulders, the bottom tips of your shoulder blades, so that the chest, that lower rib cage, is opening toward the ceiling. So again, that's extra, that's a little fussier. You have to have the proper prop to make it right. So find the happy medium, right? The benefits of the prop without distracting from the benefits you get from being in the pose, right? The arms can be where it's comfortable, overhead, down by your sides, across your belly. And see if you can release into this one. Take just a couple more breaths here. Then we'll bring the soles of the feet to the floor. Roll yourself off to the side if you have this bolster underneath your shoulders, and just move that out of the way. Same idea, release the shoulders, finding that neutral spine here. Feet flat or legs extended. And then keeping that spine neutral as it is, go ahead and extend the right leg up toward the ceiling. If you have a strap here, you can take it across the ball mound of your foot. You can even use it behind your thigh. Otherwise, just use your fingers, interlace them behind the right thigh here. And a gentle little pull in as you exhale. And release on the inhale. Just nice, easy little in and out. And then finding a middle here. Take the left arm out to the left and glue that side of your body to the floor. We do this in class pretty frequently. You let that right leg start to fall to the right.
And I talk about letting the leg release into the hand a lot, right? You can absolutely still do that here, or take your prop, or props probably, right? They might need to be a little bit bigger, right? And use the prop to take the weight of the leg, keeping that left hip on the floor, the left shoulder back, cheating using the long. And see if you can really release the weight of the leg. Coming back to the middle. Release the right foot, and we will do the same thing on the second side. So lift the left leg, keeping the spine as neutral as you can with the little exhalation, with the exhalation, a little pull in, and then release out. Never a little breath, right? We'll find that kind of middle ground again. Extend the right arm out to the right. Support the leg, use your props, whatever you got over here, letting the leg fall left. And then release the leg. And if you let go without having enough of a prop, you'll find your right hip starts lifting up off the floor. Adjust. It's not always perfect right away. And sometimes then it's even still not perfect. But it's perfect for us, so we let go of perfect, right? We're going to bring that leg back up to the middle. Release the foot. Gently draw the knees in toward your chest. And just give yourself a little rock. So you can have props present here or not. We aren't going to linger necessarily, so just adjust as you need, right? Opening the arms out into a T. Start to allow the knees to rock bigger side to side. And maybe even for a moment, the legs fall to your prop or fall to the floor. Just a nice little side to side. And start to make that side to side movement a little bit smaller again. And squeeze those knees into the chest. Pull the forehead toward the knees. And release into a full body stretch. Releasing the stretch. If you want plain old Shavasana, you are there, right? But if you have an available wall, like I said earlier, we're going to be using legs up the wall with our block here. You can take your block to the baseboard, right? And then you're gonna wiggle down or over or wherever you are, taking your hips on top of the block. So the block may not be all the way to the baseboard. You may have to wiggle yourself in a little bit. You can do the same thing with the prop underneath the shoulders, right? The bottom tips of the shoulder blades there, right? To open up the chest. The arms can be where is comfortable. You can move your block up higher or lower, or your stack of books or your blanket or whatever you might be using here. So tons of places to be. See what your body wants. The legs can be straight, the feet can be flat, the soles of the feet can come together. Tons and tons of options. The only thing you need to do is allow your body to rest here. Staying connected to your breath, keeping the mind present, and just allowing yourself to be for a few moments longer. Begin to gently deepen your breath, wiggling fingers and toes, maybe lightly circling at your ankles and wrists. If you are still propped in any way, gently take yourself off of your prop. Allowing the spine to rest in a more neutral position for just a moment or two. Maybe the feet come flat to the floor or the wall if you're not alone. Rolling yourself over to the side. And just like we did earlier, take your time here, transitioning, maybe keeping the eyes closed. And we'll gently come up to seated. Sitting well, bringing the palms to touch.
And bowing to the light within. Namaste. So now I feel like I just want to go back to bed though. So I hope you enjoyed that. It is a little bit different flavor from me, certainly. I haven't heard a whole lot of people that will be practicing with me on Christmas Eve day. So unless I hear differently this week, I'm probably not going to be doing a live next Saturday. So enjoy your weekend, enjoy the holidays if I don't see you first, and we'll be back. Yeah, definitely New Year's Eve day, for sure. And then that'll be a whole new thing too, right? So have a wonderful weekend, day, whatever. Hopefully the weather is nice and you can get out and play and do something fun. Thanks, you guys.